This month is Filipino American History Month, and Filipinos in Vallejo have a long history with this community. Back in the early days of the shipyard, where they came from the Philippines as nannies and babysitters for the naval officers that were assigned to Mare Island, to today, where there are several Filipino Americans that serve on the city council and various other forms of city government here in the city. So I authored a proclamation for this month, and it's entitled Filipino American History Month. And the three of us will be reading this, so I'm going to start with Councilmember Berliga.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Filipino American History Month, October 2019. Whereas October 18, 1587 is the earliest documented proof of Filipino presence in the continental United States, as the first Luzon Indios set foot on Morro Bay, California, and the year 1763 was the first permanent settlement of Filipinos in the continental United States in St. Malo, Louisiana, and between 1996 and 1935, the first large wave of Filipino immigration began to work in agriculture, as domestic servants, on railroads and in Vallejo as shipyard workers at Mare Island. Their presence in Vallejo set in motion the economic, cultural, social, and other contributions that Filipino Americans have made to our great nation and city. And whereas the Filipino presence in Vallejo dates back over 100 years, starting with the arrival of war brides, as well as the nannies and servants of U.S. naval officers stationed at Mare Island after the Spanish-American and Philippine-American Wars, and the arrival of Vallejo's first Filipino family, a marriage between African-American Buffalo soldier George Washington Carter and Maria Martinez in 1912, setting the stage for Filipinos today being the largest Asian American Pacific Islander group in Solano County, the second largest in California, and the third largest in the nation, according to the U.S. Census Bureau multi-year trend. And Council members.
And whereas the city of Vallejo and the communities in Solano County have long recognized the contributions of Filipino Americans, several of whom have dedicated many years of service as leaders with various government and private entities, as well as having served as educators, health and social workers, civil servants, military members, elected officials, and policymakers. And whereas the Filipino American National Historical Society Vallejo chapter continues to fulfill its mission to document, record, educate, and disseminate the history of Filipinos in Vallejo, who in 2019 produced a permanent exhibit, Filipinos on Mare Island, for the Mare Island Museum, helped dedicate the Moises Way, the first street named after a Filipino in Vallejo, and presented the Vallejo Filipino history at public events, including at the McKeon Road.
Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Bob Sampaio, Mayor of the City of Vallejo, and the Vallejo City Council do hereby designate October 2019 as Filipino American History Month and encourage our citizens to celebrate the significance of Filipino Americans, their contributions, values, culture, and the positive role models that they have proudly displayed in transforming the diversity and rich history of our historic and beautiful city and our great nation. Dated today's date, October 22nd, 2019, sent by me, Bob Sampaio, Mayor, and the Vallejo City Council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Mayor Sampaio and members of the City Council. I'm Mary Nargonza Hopwood. I'm the current president of the Vallejo chapter of PONS, which is the Filipino American National Historical Society. We're a chapter of the National Society. We appreciate your proclamation honoring October as Filipino American History Month. I have to kind of add to some of your history that you listed here. I'm a third generation of a Vallejo Filipino pioneer family who arrived in Vallejo and settled in the 1920s. My grandmother was the first Filipino on Mare Island as a naval nanny in 1921 at the age of 19. We have 6 generations now living in Vallejo. Anyway, the Fond's goal is to continually cultivate awareness of Filipinos, their contribution, their legacy to the rich cultural history of not only Vallejo, but Solano County and the United States as well. We have the largest Asian Pacific Islander group in Solano County, the second largest in California, and the third largest in the United States, according to the recent United States Census Bureau. We have engaged in many activities to continually bring awareness of Filipinos that have settled here in Vallejo. One of the biggest events was our ribbon cutting ceremony at Mare Island. That is the reason why most of the Filipinos came to Mare Island in the 1920s and the 1930s, and after the war until the 1960s. And they prospered and retired after 34, 38, 40 years of work on Mare Island. We have an exhibit at the Mare Island Museum noting the 457 Mare Island Filipino workers that we were able to gather. There is over 1,000 workers, though, that we still need to research and list them, listing their name, their shop, their position, and when they retired. We've held many other activities in Vallejo. We've presented family history reports. We've done it for about 60 Filipino families, those who were pioneer families in the 20s and the 30s, those who came after the war during the 40s, and those who came in the fourth wave after the 60s. And we will continue to do so, to bring, again, the awareness of the rich and cultural history of Filipinos in Vallejo and Solano County. We have a presentation at the McCune book collection where we learned that many Vallejoans in Vallejo were unaware of the presence of Filipinos in the 20s and the 30s. We recently sponsored, along with Turo University, and we thank the City Council also for changing the name of one of the streets on Mare Island to Moises Way, who was one of the first Filipino workers on Mare Island. Just this past Friday, we celebrated Pinay, which means woman in Vallejo. Visionaries, they were first in their category, or they served as an example, an inspiration, a role model to generations of young Filipinos. Council member Rosana Berta is listed as the first Filipina elected official in Vallejo. We had about 61 Pinay visionaries, and we also recognize the 20 presidents of the Filipino community that began in 1946. So we are honored again tonight to receive this resolution in honor of October, which is Filipino American History Month. Thank you.